sour beats on the track.
It's one of my favorite motors. I'd say the best V8 motor that has been produced so far, in my opinion, because I don't mess with too many American motors, so I can't speak for the LS stuff. I'm sure a lot of people are big fans, but at least for the European cars, I think the M177 is one of the most phenomenal V8s I've ever seen. We rarely see any break or throw a rod. There's a reason there are not too many Mercedes engine builders compared to BMW engine builders. You'll see a BMW engine builder in every corner of the city. So yeah, the M177, they use the better Bosch piezo injectors for DI. We don't even do supplemental or secondary fuel injection for any of those, even in the 1000 horsepower range. And these engines just take a beating and they just keep running. So one of our favorite engines to do any modifications to. Phenomenal, delivers a lot of power for the amount of fuel and air it gets. Overall, like one of my favorite engines. So one of the biggest things with designing upgraded turbochargers is back pressure. It's also one fact that a lot of turbo manufacturers overlook. Back pressure is very critical because it can dictate the amount of cylinder pressure in your engine, and more than the making power aspect of it, back pressure also kind of contributes to how unsafe your engine becomes due to increased stresses at higher horsepower levels. So we always try to keep that in mind, and we're trying to reduce back pressure when we design these new turbine housings when we put bigger wheels. The M177 turbochargers we are offering, the IFX 1200s, they are a ground-up design. We have a custom cast turbine housing with bigger volume, and we also decided to do a single scroll instead of a twin scroll because of the same reasoning, to reduce back pressure. And we haven't seen a huge drop in spool, so we decided to keep it during the prototyping stage. We did not want to go twin scroll just to add another 300 RPM of spool and cause more back pressure and issues for the motor. We have two. They're rated for about 1300 horsepower to the crank. Phenomenal success so far. I mean, we have nothing to really complain about on the set. We have tons of builds that are running 1000 horsepower very reliably. Never have seen too many complaints from them. Design wise too, we've tried to make it the best wherever we could. Like the compressor wheels are point milled instead of flank milled. Little details, but it all adds up, because when you point mill it, you can have your compressor wheels thinner, lighter, and have less stress on them during manufacturing, so they stay together longer for higher RPMs. We have a stainless steel turbine housing. We have MAR M246 alloy turbine wheel, which is very heat resistant, would add to the reliability in the long run. The whole set is put together. It comes plug and play, so anyone can install it, really, even in their garage. We have a lot of people who have actually done the whole installs in the garage. All the builds we've done with it so far, we've been happy about it, and there's nothing really we want to change. Well, it was actually a pleasant surprise when we saw that the spool was great, even though we increased the ARs, got rid of the twin scroll setup, and made the back pressure really low. We still spooled around between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM. We're hitting full boost by, I think, about 4,500. And the big difference between a hybrid and the IFX 1200 is hybrids usually fall off in the higher rev range, which is again due to back pressure. And because of the improved design, these turbos start pulling all the way to redline. So even though we might be making similar numbers, like you may make 900 horsepower on a hybrid, you can make 900 horsepower on an IFX 1200 too, but the car would behave a lot differently because you have a lot more area under the curve in the higher RPMs. So when you start running a car, let's say you're doing 60 to 130, you're starting off even at 3,000-4,000 RPM. Throughout the gear changes, you're constantly at 5,000 to 6,000 RPM. So having more power in that rev range helps the car become a lot faster on the street. Given the two options, It's tough to choose, but the V8 sound is really hard to pass on. But I grew up as a BMW guy. My first car was a 335, and then we spent a lot of time on the N54s. It's hard to forget. I kind of am a BMW first kind of guy, but the Mercedes cars are not too behind. Like as a street car, as a daily fun car that you own, Mercedes does really well on their AMG cars for sure. But being a tech guy, you know, being an engineer, BMW comes closer to what we would say is our personality. I think I see BMW being more close to my heart for sure. Well, thank you for the questions, and if you guys have any comments or questions you want answered, just put it out in the comments, and I'll try to make a video with the guys and address those questions.